just a pleasure and an honor to be here today. A few years ago, our director, Michael Brand, at the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts, decided that along with our transforming construction process that we are undergoing because of burgeoning collections, that we needed to kind of update our image. And so he determined that we would have a brand new, vibrant, wonderful, colorful logo, and that we would be known as VMFA. And for those of you who are familiar with the Virginia Museum, if you come there today, you'll see a great big construction trailer in front of the building, although we did cover it with a big green cloth now that says open. Open. Please, yes, we're open. We have a wonderful new director. We have just the tradition of the best directors in the world. And our new director, Alex Nargis, looked at that logo and said, you know, that's a great logo. It's really stunning. But there's one thing missing. One thing that you need to add. We need to always, always, always remember that Virginia is our first name, that we are a state art museum, and we operate throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. Now, we were founded in 1934. We had a charter to begin building as a WPA project at the height of the Depression. And to me, that's just amazing that you have, during this difficult time, a state government who is willing to finance a state agency for the arts. And they took a great leap of faith. I think a leap of faith that obviously our earlier speakers have taken, and that many of you are preparing to take in this region today. And it works. And as Betsy said, through partnerships, through collaboration, through faith, stepping out of the light and learning to fly if there's not solid ground. And that's what these legislators did. We opened this building in 1936 with a mandate to provide Virginians with education in the realm of the arts. Okay, 1938. We're getting some complaints here. It's the Richmond Museum. It's not the Virginia Museum. So 70 years ago, we listened and became a museum without walls. We started our state services program initiatives, doing classroom resources, sending out speakers, organizing one-man art shows of contemporary artists throughout Virginia, really embracing the statewide mandate of our legislators. Good enough? Well, it's getting there. We were supposed to be serving Virginians with exhibitions, performing arts, educator workshops, artist in residency programs, and more. And we were doing that, except not quite. We weren't really sharing the permanent collection. All of these other things were important and are important. But when we are the state's art treasury, we share that art. Well, how do you do that in the late 1930s and sending your art to facilities with the adequate climate control and security? It's tough. One of their first ventures was to send part of their Fabergé collection to Roanoke, Virginia, and it was displayed in the First National Exchange Bank in Roanoke. Well, you know, that's a really secure environment, but maybe not the best environment for enjoying works of art. A real breakthrough came in 1953. I wasn't with the museum then. I've been with the museum a long time, and I've been with this program, but not that early. The Artmobile program, how many of you remember the Artmobiles? I bet you saw me on it back in the late 70s. It was my first real job, and it was just awesome, awesome. This program was extraordinary. The museum decided to create this gallery on wheels, climate control, security control, and look what they were circulating. Gauguin, Renoir, Degas, in other exhibitions, ancient Egyptian art, ancient American art, the little Dutch masters. The museum began sharing its collection in an incredible way. At the height of its, and here's an interior. You can tell this is old. But they were very, very clever. And our designers could come up in this long rectangle with some very ingenious exhibition applications. Sorry I didn't have one at the Egyptian gallery when it looked like you were stepping into a tomb. But the Artmobile enabled us to share our collections, and as a result, Virginians really got a diet of art like I believe no other state has ever had. And I think Virginians are unique in this respect, in that the arts have been part and parcel of their communities, and they expect it from their state government and from the State Art Museum, and well, they should. Now, in moving the Artmobile, crisscrossing the state, we made many, many friends. We established a network of partners, and these partners that we've heard from today, Betsy White at the William King Regional Arts Center, Piedmont Arts Association, beautiful Prizery here today. More and more, these partners grew up. They had their own facilities. As Betsy said, they worked long and hard to achieve the AAM recommendations and accreditation so that they could borrow works of art from museums, not just us, but all over the world. And here you see a recent exhibition of our permanent collection at Hollins University in Roanoke. So you see a diversity of objects from, there's a little Etruscan piece. We were looking at how artists use motion in art. And the way these exhibitions have been displayed and our partners, the types of programs that our partners have devised has just been amazing. We learned so much from our partnerships with our colleagues here in Virginia. Hollins, Feast, as Betsy was mentioning, in Abington, the construction worker on view at the Chrysler Museum, and at the Peninsula Fine Arts Center. They had the most amazing companion program to Speed, and they had kids, including this big kid here, trying out a Segway. It just is astounding how creative the communities in this state can be. Now, Virginia Museum also circulates exhibitions by contemporary artists, and there's an exhibition here at the Prizery today that I hope you'll get to enjoy. And also classroom exhibitions. We realized that early on that schools have a real need for arts immersion, arts enhancement. As Betsy said, there are many schools in Virginia that have limited art programs. We do not want to be a substitute for those, but we want to be an advocate and to help communities realize the value of the arts. Our educational initiatives embrace the state standards of learning so that teachers begin to understand that the arts teach across the curriculum. This is one of our classroom exhibits, and in West Point, the students curated their own World of 1607 exhibit, and then the high school students gave the middle school students tours of the exhibition in their school. So the students can use these panel exhibitions in many, many creative ways, and again, we're just always blown away with what teachers come up with. Our teacher education program at the museum, likewise, wants teachers to understand and embrace the many ways that the arts teach across the curriculum. This is one of their Summer Institute programs, the Silk Road, and we have silkworms that we hatched and are having the teachers study during one of these projects. Again, using the arts as a springboard for science, for literature, for math projects. Math is harder for us at the Art Museum. We really, that's when our Teachers Advisory Committee really comes in handy. Incorporating dance and movement, all of the arts. Again, a week-long professional development. We collaborate with Virginia Commonwealth University to offer the Summer Institute for graduate credit for those teachers who so desire, and professional certification for others. Now, what does this lively group of college students have in common with this painting, other than the quirky pose? They adopted, this is one of their newer programs, they adopted this painting, their creative writing class at VCU, and they wrote a kind of round-robin story about the life of this painting from its creation to its presence in the Virginia Museum today, and we published it on our website. Someone, I believe, Glenn was mentioning literacy in the arts, and that's another thing that is so important in our works with the schools, to get students not only to verbalize what they're seeing, to hypothesize and to speculate, but to write. And so we're very excited that this creative writing class has been piloted and will be expanding that. We also have a very lively teen advisory committee. If you want to know what teenagers want, all you got to do is ask them, and will they ever tell you? And if you have a dumb idea, they will tell you that too. We have a group of about 20 Richmond Metro kids that come in and really help us hammer out our educational offerings for teens. Twice a year, when we can raise the money, they host a teen cafe. I think we used to call them coffee houses when I was their age. When it first started out, we had 75 kids come. At this one, where the teens did a wearable art show made out of recyclables, we had almost 400 teenagers, parents, teachers, grandparents, a very multi-generational and lively mix. They also get their own teen bands, so look out. It's loud, but it's lively. These programs can translate to institutions throughout the Commonwealth. These initiatives are ones that many of you are already doing, and that we have taken your ideas and developed them for our institution. That partnership is so important. We are here as a Museum Without Walls to help you in your endeavor to make sure the arts infuse your community in ways that are meaningful, both to your economy, but perhaps most especially to your young people, because they are the ones. Art education is a direct means to discover the world in all its wonder. I mean, it truly is. And the great thing is that Virginians already think that's important. So I applaud what you're doing here today. Please let us know how we can help, and pick up a Virginia Museum brochure, and feel free to ask me any questions later on. And I thank you for your attention.